What's up, guys? Xbox Tech Joker back today with another video. Today's video we're going to be talking about some recent news with both Xbox and Halo and talk about all the things that have just basically come out. So first things first, let's just get the obvious out of the way. Next Thursday is the Xbox Game Showcase where we'll be seeing official reveals and gameplay for games made by Xbox Game Studios. This of course includes Halo Infinite campaign gameplay. So finally, if you're excited to see how Halo Infinite looks while being played on the Xbox Series X next Thursday at, I believe, 9 a.m. Pacific time, it will be going. So make sure you tune in on either YouTube, Twitch, or however you watch some of your streaming services. With that, though, we did get a nice little snapshot of Master Chief from Halo Infinite. Nothing too crazy, just another picture of Chief inside, the Pelican from the Discover Hope trailer. At least I assume it's from the same trailer, different angle. The lighting's a little bit different. Chief's armor looks a little darker, but we don't know for sure if that's actually just because they've updated the design, or if it's just the certain lighting that's happening in that certain screenshot. Either way, like I said, next week we'll finally be getting Halo Infinite gameplay, and with that we're also getting a bunch of new Halo items. So, for example, next Thursday around the same time that the show starts, Mega Constructs will be releasing a really cool packaged Master Chief bundle. And essentially what this is, it's a box that looks like Master Chief's chest from Halo Infinite with the 117. When you open it, you have a couple different figures. You have literally every set of Master Chief's armor from Halo 1, which is the Mark V, all the way up till Halo Infinite, which is the Mark 6 Generation 3. You also get some two other goodies. You'll get a bunch of weapons for Chief. You'll get a tiny little Cortana, and you'll get a nice little cool AI chip that actually goes inside the box. So that will be releasing. It's technically a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but obviously since the event has been canceled, people will be able to purchase it through their website. They're not going to be releasing that website until the day of. So basically, if you want to make sure you're on their website the day of, I think it's Mattel.com. It'll be in their Instagram. They've announced it. I'll leave a link down below so you can get more information. It's going to retail for about $20, and I think they're limiting it to 2 or 3 per person. So definitely once it goes live, get out there and try to get yourself one. Next thing is some cool Xbox news. While we've been pretty slow with Xbox news besides the possible reveal of the Xbox Series X next month, Xbox has actually been pretty quiet, releasing some subtle cool stuff about the Series X. Just talking about more of its features, how the architecture and all that kind of works. One thing we did finally get to talk about more of is Game Pass and how it affects both the Xbox Series X and xCloud. Officially in September, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and xCloud will be joining together. So that literally means every game that is on Game Pass will play on your phone, whether that's iOS and or Samsung or Android. iOS for sure, I don't know exactly if it will be right when September launches, just because right now we're still tied down to just Halo MCC. But later on, we will get access to the full Xbox Game Pass library. And that just basically means every game that releases at launch, like Halo Infinite, will be playable on your Xbox Series X, your Xbox One, your Windows PC, and or your mobile phone, depending on where you're going to play it. They've also came back to touch on some other stuff, like backwards compatibility, forward compatibility, how that all works, how they want to make sure no one is being forced into next generation. All stuff that we've kind of known, but kind of nice to get like a nice little article just talking about how they're intending us for all, just to feel free to pick what we want to play and where we want to play it. We do have some sad news though. Officially starting yesterday, Xbox One X and the Xbox One S All Digital Edition are no longer being manufactured. They are officially discontinued by Microsoft. So what this means is if there's any Xbox One consoles that are the X or the Series S, One S All Digital Edition, coming out, it will only be because it's they've had it left in the warehouses. They'll make their way to retail stores. As of right now, it is very difficult to find Xbox One consoles. So if you see a One X, I would, if you're not planning on upgrading to the Series X, I'd highly recommend grabbing the One X right now, just because it'll probably be the last time you'll see them. What this basically means though is officially Xbox is full on heading into the next generation. They're going to work primarily on the Series X and the Series S if that one exists, but there is still the Xbox One S standard, the one with the disc tray, that is still being manufactured. So, like I said, if you're not ready to jump to the next generation of consoles, they're still giving you the options to pick up an Xbox One S Really good console if you haven't bought one already. Personally, I think it's the best decision to make. It makes more sense. Doesn't make sense to be producing the One X or the all digital, especially when you're, getting ready to go in the next generation and you're focusing on these one, possibly two different types of consoles. Now, the final thing I want to talk about are Xbox cases. Now, usually with a new generation, we get a new type of case, something that's a bit more formatted to look more current generation than old generation, but that's not the case with the Xbox Series X. Essentially what they're doing is, for example, let's say Battlefield 5 was getting an update for Xbox Series X. The case would look almost exactly like this. The difference would be is instead of saying Xbox One, it simply just says Xbox. And then at the top right here, there's a new black bar, or sorry, top left for you guys. There's a black bar that will tell you exactly which consoles this works on. So, for example, the NBA 2K21 Mamba Edition only works primarily for the Series X. So if you go up and look at the case, the black bar will say Xbox Series X and nothing more. But if it works on both, it'll say Xbox Series X, Xbox One. Another cool thing is if you look on the top right on like a regular case right now, it'll tell you things like 4K Ultra HD with HDR and Xbox One X Enhanced. Well, they're dropping the One X Enhanced and adding in the Smart Delivery. That will let you know that if you buy this game for Xbox One or Xbox Series X, it will work on both consoles. You don't have to buy a whole another copy. You simply just take the disc, put it in whatever console you want to play, and there you go. The last thing that they're adding, since they are getting rid of the One X Enhanced badge, is they're adding in the Optimized for Series X badge, which is that big green symbol that will just basically let you know that this game is optimized for Series X. It will use things like 4K Ultra HD with up to 120 frames per second, ray tracing. Not all of those will obviously be included in every copy of a game with that badge, but it lets you know that it will use some sort of Series X only optimization. One last thing I want to talk about before I end the video is next week I will be releasing another video just before the Xbox showcase. This is kind of a small video just getting me ready for Halo Infinite. I'm going to basically be talking about why 343's Halo universe fits in as a worthy successor to Bungie's. Now, I'm not talking about how they've handled the whole game itself. I'm just talking about like the lore, the story, and why it makes sense after Bungie, the way Bungie ended their franchise. But with that though, that is pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, next week, July 23rd, is Xbox Showcase, so if you want to see Halo Infinite gameplay, make sure you're watching it at whatever time it occurs in your time zone. I will leave links to pretty much everything I've talked about down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good